Jewel, and the whole Rio flock.
Let the kids connect to their roots. It's gonna be so much fun. Yeah! Woo-hoo!
Let's rock this jungle.
Yeah!
Fresh air.
What a glorious morning.
Clean water.
Woohoo! This is great.
And endless surprises.
Yo, this is untapped territory.
How amazing.
Visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
So when you get to the corner of Smith and Orchard, you're going to want to take a left.
You are not going to.
Then what you're going to do is turn onto Marcy Avenue.
Just broke up,
and go past the first 3 lights, and then take the next left.
I don't really think she's
5 more blocks, and you should be there.
Who am I to judge, right?
Park on the right.
That's
I'll
what
see
I
you
heard
later
last
tonight.
night.
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable. But how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on 2 things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Come on. Yeah. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Crystal Renee Radio Show here on BeExposedRadio.com. I'm your host, Crystal Renee, and I'm in a building right now, in the studio right now with if you've been watching my show, you guys already know who this guy sitting across from me is. This is my producer, Mr. Nate. You gonna say hi? Hey. Did you miss me? I haven't been on for the past couple Mondays. I got my reasons for that, y'all. But before I jump into that, I want to say, why won't my phone stop making that noise?
Turn the volume down.
Okay, y'all know I'm a little disorganized on this show, but I just want to say hi to everybody. Thanks to all my, you know what, like I said, I haven't been on the air for like maybe 2 or 3 shows, but I want to thank everyone who has messaged me or inboxed me to ask where have I been. I was actually surprised to see people who actually view the shows. I didn't know I had loyal viewers of the show, and that was a wake-up call to me. And I just want to thank everybody who sent me an inbox or who messaged me and said, where the hell are you, what's going on with your show. And a special friend of mine had to really give me a prep talk to basically say, no, Crystal, this is what you want, this is your passion, you have to get back into it. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, I am back. It is June. I haven't been here since the 2nd show in May, and now here it is June. Shout out to all the June babies like myself. It is our season, Geminis. My birthday is June 17th. So oh, why are you smiling? Oh, yours is 16th. Hey, boo, I don't even know your name. How you doing? Oh, we Geminis all in here. My birthday is June 17th. I will be 21. Yes, God.
The lies.
21 plus 10. 21 plus 10. I'll be 31. I'll be 31. I'm such an old hag.
Yeah, you are old.
Am I old now? Is 31 old?
You are.
Oh, I don't want to be old. I really ain't do nothing when I was in my 20s. Maybe my 30s could be like, yeah, my party time. I didn't do anything that I wanted to do yet in my 20s. Hopefully, everything I want to do in my 20s, I do in my 30s.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
And we have a full house tonight. My co-host, Leslie Swirl, and Miss Lasha G, y'all already know.
Hey.
Mr. Tony Bling, y'all already know. But I have with me Mr. Paul Jackson.
Yes, ma'am.
And my brother, Mr. Kevin Little here.
Well, all right.
So, listen, I'm quite sure this is going to be a hot topic. I'm very excited about today's show. And I'm also excited because for the first time, the men outnumber the women.
That is true. Wow, I didn't even notice that.
Finally. Because that took some... This is the first time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was like, wait a minute, maybe I messed up. Finally, the men outnumber the women. And I really wanted that. More so for all of the shows for the month, but definitely for this show. And then we got our producer and our engineer, so we got a lot of testosterone in here today. We might gotta pull it up, but that's all right because we strong. We strong
with a C.
With a strong.
Strong.
Yes.
Strong.
I mean, how you pronounce it?
Strong.
There you go. So last week's topic was media, our fathers in mainstream media and their disappearing act, basically, or the minimizing of our fathers in mainstream media. And I'm not sure if we ever got the resolution was in order to really fix that, we need our own, support our own.
Pretty much.
That's basically how we summed that up. But this week we are talking about our fathers, continuing our conversation with our fathers, and the subject for these next 2 weeks topic is taking fathers.
Mm-hmm.
And this first part is called A Father's Tale. And I named it that because this is long. I actually changed the way that tale was spelled on this paper, y'all, and I didn't say it.
Oh, I see that.
Obviously. But I wanted to do it this way because I wanted to give the fathers an opportunity to speak their position, to speak their mind on the matter. We have in this room some fathers who, for different reasons, were not in the home with their children, be it work, be it other obligations, be it jail, be it the army. I mean, there's a host of different reasons why our fathers are not home.
Mm-hmm.
And the one reason that we always see this more than anything, is the fact that our fathers are in jail. And this is where this piece actually started from, which we'll read later. I wrote this piece, and it is actually called Taking Fathers as a
memorial.
Well, now it's a memorial for my Uncle Frank. At the time of writing it, he had just come home from prison. And at that time, we were trying to see if they were going to allow him to come home, because we had been through this back and forth with the prison system for quite a long time, and it was always you get your hopes up, and then they let you down. But at this time, he was ailing, he was sickly, and it was just in his favor at the moment. So it was a very big moment very monumental moment in our family. But going to the courthouse directly across the street from here, so it all makes this, kind of, this eerie a little bit. I saw these other men around the same age dealing with some of the same ailments, and this piece was kind of birthed in that courtroom. So I wanted to develop that in honor of him. Unfortunately, he's not here with us anymore. But we had 2 good years with him before he passed away. But this is such a serious matter, and it won't end here. Next week we'll be having A Father's Tale, but from the child's perspective, adult children, because now these are adult men who themselves are fathers, and their perception and how they feel about and how they saw it, with their fathers not being home. They had their own questions, but now they had to live through either not getting their answers and then having to figure it out on their own, or so forth. So this is going to develop, moving forward. But before we get into any of this, I want to start off this show and kind of set the tone with the piece that I wrote called Taking Fathers, and Miss Lasha G is going to read it for us.
Taking Fathers by Lakeisha Love Don Askins. I was a part of a conversation the other day when a question was asked, Where are all our black fathers? The question struck me as strange because the individual asking happened to be a man that was brought up with both his biological mother and father. I began to think to myself, this is a valid inquiry to ponder, because as the years go on, it seems that we are witnessing our father figures in the home become extinct. The reason behind why the male role models are no longer in the home are many, but no excuse tops the one I saw on this day, February 27th, 2014. 2014 was the day Frank Askins came home. My Uncle Frank came home from prison after being locked up for 44 years of his life. Upon his time of writing this, I am 33 years old. So I was not born when he was arrested, although I was able to see him during his time of incarceration. What I can remember about this visit was that he looked like every one of his siblings, my aunts and uncles, and I was astonished. Uncle Frank also had a gracefulness about him when he spoke, very kind and mellow. He didn't know my name then, so he addressed me as little niece, which I was very proud of for some reason, and could understand why I thought so highly of a man that is believed to have done such a horrible crime, that he would be locked up in such a degrading place. At least that's what I was groomed to believe. On February 27th, 2014, everything changed. My eyes were open to more than the mere fact that my Uncle Frank was just as thoughtful and humble as I imagined, but also that the answer to my questions asked of me lie behind those despicable prison walls. I saw men of all ages being brought into the courtroom bound and shackled with armed chaperones for the protection of us as well as themselves. These men, through suffering humiliation in front of their loved ones and family and friends, still walked in with a smile on their face. They seemed happy to see their family in any event. But you could not dismiss the years of hardship that the life they lived had placed on their bodies. It was visible. As I watched the men seated straight across the bench, I saw the answer to the question right in my face. Our fathers were taken. Our fathers, who had made mistakes like many youth throughout the centuries, were trapped in a place for the unforgiven. They, across that bench, said years of wisdom and lessons, years of reprimand and authority, years of love and loss. I saw the white cloud of possible disintegrate in front of me. There goes choice out of the window. Options evaporated into thin air as I saw an officer hand feed an inmate because of lack of mobility. What had they done? What crime was so horrific that loss of life was the answer? Let me be clear. This is not my rationalization of a wrongdoing. I wholeheartedly understand that there are repercussions for making bad choices. My question is, who really pays for the action? I saw the vessel of a man on that bench, but the loss is not just of his children and grandchildren, or lack thereof, in many cases, were the persons of interest. We ask where the fathers are and why are they not present? Well, the answer lied on that bench. I saw well-groomed, respectful, orderly men in that room, but that is not what is being represented by their children on the street, because it is not what's being taught to them. What I gathered is that our judicial system believes because they can maintain some level of restraint for our African American male, they have found the solution to stopping crime. If that were the answer, that bench would have only seen one row of inmates. You take a creature out of his or her habitat and train it to be whatever you will. If that creature has no choice, it will adjust. But the moment he or she arrives back into a recognizable environment, he will reform. This is called having inherited behaviors. These fathers are born into a family of people that no matter what they do or where they go, their DNA links them to each other. No circumstance, be it good or bad, can relinquish that connection. To have a person of authority instruct you on a daily living is one option, but not likely to be a lasting impression. Whereas to have someone that is linked to you and your family to guide you in the decision making seems to be more of a logical and productive choice. This choice, be it altogether a great one, is not a normal one. We have lost that option because our loved one did something our judicial system considered to be a crime. And for that reason, choice is gone. Do you truly understand that for a child to grow up without his or her parents leaves an empty void in that child's heart that will at some point be filled up with something? The question is, what? The diverse answer to that question stopped when the guilty verdict was reached and the gavel was hit. Ball games and mechanic lessons are gone. Man-to-man talks and shaving lessons are no longer a thought. The quality time a man spends with his child can't be compared to anything. It is unique and it is gone. Looking upon that bench, I saw what was, what is, and what is next. How do we stop this ongoing downward spiral? What steps need to be taken to ensure that our young boys have an opportunity to watch the remaking of a man? I say remaking because at some point in time, a man sees his mistakes. Whether he puts forth the effort to correct them or not, he will acknowledge them. Even in that step, to be present in the life of your offspring while having a renewal of mind poses an impact on that child. When you simply change your mind, your actions follow suit. You don't respond the same, you don't speak so quickly or cast any judgment because the similarities of corrupt choices. A man with a renewed mind sees the world with a new eyesight and ensures that his child understands that what is being represented to them just may not be what they perceive it to be. A man in the life of a youth he is connected to need not worry with long lecture because duty is to talk. Because their duty is only walk their path of change, and the child inherited behavior will kick in and follow. I grieve for the state of our youth. The children who are filling up that void with nonsense and non-connected people that mean them no good. Their earthly guides are confined within stone walls that are soaked up strength and awareness. Give us our fathers so we can watch the way wrongs get righted. Give us our fathers so that we can see nature unfold in love and peace. Give us our fathers so they can nurture their bodies when they ail. Give us our fathers so we can ask them the questions that only a connected person can answer and understand. Give us our fathers so that he can do the job of your police and keep the order in his home and on his streets. Give us our fathers so they can place their child under subjection without saying a single word. Prove to me that in this wonderful country we live in, we can truly believe in the words justice for all. Let me prove to you that no matter how many bully clubs you use and bullets you waste, it will never have more power over a young man than his father does. If you don't believe me, give us our daddies back and I'll prove it.
We'll be right back.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
I had got drunk one night. This is the night that I put my head through the window and everything. So.
Why would you do that?
Now, I was sitting on the floor.
All these stories always involve alcohol.
They do. I was sitting on the floor, and my drink of choice back then was vodka and orange juice.
Ooh,
it's still my drink of choice, but I don't drink it as much.
I was a 151 kid, straight up.
I love vodka, especially when it was...
that rubbing alcohol.
You know.
What brand?
Back then I was hooked on Absolute.
That was the best at the time.
And Pinnacle was like number 2 and stuff like that.
Because they didn't have what's the new one that came out? Yeah, what was the new one?
Ciroc, vodka, and
no, the other one. Who is real smooth? New Amsterdam. New Amsterdam came out, and it was so.
And Grey Goose. Grey Goose was out at that time too.
I didn't drink. I told you 151. That was my.
Yeah, Grey Goose vodka was one of the ones because I loved the bottle. Because
you can light it on
fire. The bottle was hot. It was that shaded, that shaved glass.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I was sitting on the floor, and we was talking about something. I don't even remember what we were talking about. All I know is I was bust out laughing. I got ching, ling, 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 glass everywhere. I wouldn't cut it all though. I had to.
Because you had your bun.
Actually, I didn't. I didn't have any hair back then.
Oh.
I don't remember. I don't think I did.
And you ain't cut your hair?
Nope. I was just fine. I was like, oh, your glass broke, and it was winter, dead of winter.
Check more of these funny moments out when you tune into BeExposedRadio.com.
Thank you for tuning in to BeExposedRadio.com. Sit back, relax, and listen to this flashback of the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
This is the reality
yes.
of the world that we're living in. A lot of young people don't have the information that is necessary to have healthy lives. And a lot of the organizations that are geared towards young people don't have individuals that are going to be as honest as this gentleman.
Well, one of the issues that I have with this quote-unquote Christian nation that we live in is that
not just the Christians,
being... Religion allows you to live in denial, but the world does not live in denial. So who are you helping with your... All right, I'm going to stop. I'm about to do something.
The reason I shrink that or take that away because it's people who are not religious. It's people who they're not giving their young people, or they don't have a person that could be that honest with them. I mean, we all have that. I know I had a mother like that.
There are...
rather than
and it's just and it's been recently because I've recently had more interaction with teen mothers than I have in my whole life. I wasn't my mother wasn't a teen mother. Her mother was. She made sure none of her daughters were. So it was, in as I get older and working in certain areas, you tend to run into that. And one of the things that blows my mind is how often a teen mom does not talk to their child at all, period, much less their daughter that they had at 15 to say, these are the realities of sex. These are the realities of the choices that you can or cannot make. These are the realities. Like, how do you not... After going through it yourself, knowing the stress, the looks, how do you then turn and look at someone else and say, all right, good luck? I mean, this is your offspring. I'm sorry. I just get very emotional about that. It bothers me.
The Artist Exchange Radio Show every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Real artist, real talk, real live on BeExposedRadio.com.
As busy as you are. Because they're good at itemizing their time, and they actually have a passion for what they do. One of the biggest lessons that I learned, I get to say this on Weird, was finding people who are not only interested in doing what you need to get done, but people who have a passion for it. Because that will eliminate the idea of people just working for a paycheck.
Right.
Because when people sign up for a paycheck, we all had jobs where we slacked off. where we stole away in a little storage room.
Fell asleep.
Thank you.
I saw a meme the other day that had Bart Simpson and the little boy with the glasses. I didn't watch the show, so don't be mad at me. Don't send me no daggum messages. The little boy with the glass, Millhouse, that was his name. He's showing him a cave, and it says, when you're asked to show around the new coworker, and it says, "This is where I come to cry." Cool.
Let's go to the telephone. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
How you doing, Wendy?
Fine, thanks.
I have a problem. Hope you can, help me solve it. Give me an idea of something.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'm 25 years old, and I'm a second grade teacher. And I've been engaged to my girl. Well, we've been together for about 2.5 years, and now we're engaged. Everything is going good with us. Back in October, I got a new student, and the child is being raised. He's a single, being raised by his parents. So the father, came up to the school and meet me. They knew in the area, so we started hanging out. Just watching games.
Welcome, we are back. Right before we went to commercial break, we read the piece Taking Fathers, where, as I said, that we this show idea kind of stemmed from. So I'm going to ask the fathers that are here right now. First question on the floor is, for what reason? I'm sorry. Oh, for what reason were you not in the home with your children? And I'm going to start with Mr. Jackson.
For me, it was multiple reasons. Military was one. Once I ETS out of the military, ended up getting into some other things and ended up in prison for 8.5 years. So, I have a perspective that it's a lot of things that goes with that. It was some of the most traumatizing time in my life, and I can only imagine what my children went through. And you can see it today in times like with the oldest kids, that lack of that separation that we have. At one time we were, there was a bond. And the best thing about that is that with my 5-year-old, I've been able to bridge the gap. And being in prison, although it was mind altering, but at the same time, it was a learning experience. I had time to go to the library and actually study and learn about our history and learn about many different things, which I was able to come back out and apply that to trying to be a father in the household. So, that was my case, and unfortunately, things happen. I'm not going to go into what happened actually, but we're in a day and time where, to me, systematically, they're forcing our men into prisons. So
that's the one right there.
So right now it's all about education. We have to educate our men, and we have to start from the youth, because I see now, especially driving through the city, be it Baltimore, Chicago, Texas, Dallas, Houston, whatever, you're seeing our youth act out, and a lot of that has to do because there is not a father in the home.
Absolutely, I agree. You see it across the country right now. Baltimore in particular, the murder rate after Freddie Gray skyrocketed. There's a lot of conspiracy theories as to why. Some people say the mayor told the police to actually stand down, so maybe they got a little lax and the criminals are opportunists. But how do you explain Chicago, California, all the other countless states and cities that have the same increase in violence, in the urban communities, particularly the minority communities where fathers are absent, So like he was saying, to add to that, the fathers being in the home is very important. A broken home creates, negative energy and all types of animosity, and you want to lash out at somebody, you know what I mean? And a lot of these young kids that would be at the park playing catch with their pops or doing any kind of activities, they join the gangs, whether it's the Bloods, the Crips, or whatever the case, and they finding, that manhood from within those ranks in the gangs, but they leading them in the wrong direction, of course. They out here shooting each other, shooting beautiful sisters. Just another beautiful sister got killed last night over Northwest Baltimore. Last night, exactly. Wow. Yeah, and you know, it's sad to see what's going on, but it's a result. It's a direct result of fatherless homes. Yes. You know, in the minority communities.
Amen.
Well, the reason why I asked that is because you use military. I know the struggle of, you know, your personal issues and then having to put forth the effort to fight with the judicial system to regain custody of your kids. But the reason why that question was important, and I wanted to start with that. I'm sorry, Bling. Why would you not? No, I just realized that I didn't throw that question at you. But I'm going to bring it back to you anyway. But why that's important is because everybody, the first assumption is you're a no good father. All you know is dad's not in the home, so he a deadbeat. Like, just because he's not in the home does not make him a deadbeat. You don't know. There's always a story connected to it. And as a mother and a woman, sometimes we gotta retrain our mind because we personalize. I do it a lot, I'll be honest. But I'm the first person to say and acknowledge that I needed to fix that. You know, that I project and I say, well, you know, I guess or men, that the word is already plural, and that's not the case. You know, so I wanted to start with that to let y'all see that yes, they're not in the home, but it was a reason, and sometimes be it a good reason. And just because you don't agree with or understand it doesn't make it not right for them. And sometimes to not be there is what's best. In my opinion, which we'll get into that a little bit more.
Do a reintroduction for those that are...
You know what? That's what I'm going to do, because I know our BeExposed.com radio family viewers did get a chance to meet our guests. But as you can see, we kind of broadcast in the middle of the show. So I want to introduce, you already know Miss Lasha G and Leslie Swirl and Mr. Tony Bling, but I have Mr. Paul Jackson with me.
Ma'am.
And Mr. Kevin Little with me, and they came in to, you know, chat it up with us, and I truly appreciate them. And for those who are just tuning in, as you can see, we having some technical difficulties, so we had to listen. The party ain't gonna stop. We're not gonna let no technical difficulties stop Sunset Soul. That's not what we do. Listen, we clown around anyway on the phone. So I mean, y'all just get to check in with us. While we on commercial break, we ain't got no time. You know, we ain't got a break, truth be told. So we all in today. So listen, okay. So we'll be right back. We're going to commercial break, but those who are with us, we still here.
Yeah.
So we'll be right back. Sunset Soul.
Yeah.
Close your eyes and sleep tight. Lie awake and watch to be sure what all your dreams.
Say he's dead.
Oh, 6 years after he passed away.
It states she reportedly had heard rumors, but nothing substantial. But then you put the rumors
while
death.
They were still married.
You sentenced the rumors to death.
While they still were married, she heard rumors.
Right. Okay. Probably all her life she's heard rumors. Like, you're dating, you know you're dating your dad, right? I look just alike. I'm like, girl, somebody told me you dating your father. You know, that's what kind of thing. You know he gay, right, Percy?
Please, why are you laughing at him? Don't laugh at him. Please don't.
Okay, let me continue with the story.
Oh,
man. Even today, it's still funny. Oh my gosh, if you haven't heard this show, it's Talk Lately, and it's only on BeExposedRadio.com every Tuesday at 7 p.m. and on YouTube. Just go to Be Exposed Radio.
Man, it is what it is. Man, it is what it is. Well, it is what it is.
This fly T Miles, also known as Tyree Miles, and Mr. Miles the writer.
Hip Hop King, check us out every Friday on Be Exposed Radio at 9/11.
Coming to y'all soon.
Do yourself a favor and listen to this hilarious flashback on Charm City Direct Radio Show.
You know me. I eat like this all the time. Do I gain any weight? No, at all. You can have my belly.
All right, we're back. Before we left, the question on the floor was, for what reason were you not in the home with your children? And Bling, you didn't get a chance to answer that.
You said what reason was I not with my children? That's the question, right?
Yes. What reason were you not in the home?
All of the kids didn't grow up with me in the house.
Oh, I'm supposed to turn it.
No.
It's this way.
Face that way.
There's a button you can hit to turn the camera.
You just gotta open the thing up.
I'm not. This is not for me.
When
I
I was,
can't see.
when I was married to my ex-wife, 2 of my children wasn't living in the house with us. So therefore, they grew up without me in their personal life on a regular basis, and they kind of felt as though that I was. They was kind of jealous of the ones that lived at home with me. They felt as though they was getting more than what the other 2 was getting. That clearly wasn't the case. I mean, they living at home with me. Of course, I see you 24/7, 7 days a week. You're going to have more access to me than somebody who see me on a bi-weekly or monthly basis. So, that's true. So the daily fathering that I would do in the house, of course, the other 2 wasn't getting that on a daily basis. So.
And this was the entire time? Oh, okay.
I mean, that's bound to cultivate some level of resentment because children are immature and they don't understand. And I mean, even with children within the same household, they feel jealous and possessive within the same household. So I can imagine how children outside would feel.
Yeah. Like to add what he just said, because I went rambling off and I realized I didn't explain my situation. So I got 2 daughters, ages 13 and 12, and initially I wasn't under the same roof because we actually had them in high school and then at the age of 19 and a half. So we broke up. So you know how that goes. You have a kid and y'all break up, you're not under the same roof. So she kind of made it hell for me, in the sense of who knows why, but she made it hell for me, telling me I could come get them, then taking that back and back and forth with that. So I just finally took her to court for joint custody initially for my oldest daughter. And I got that, and the judge actually put me on child support, which was crazy. I had no idea he was going to throw me on child support, and I felt like I was doing the right thing, But apparently with any custody case, child support gets thrown into the mix, and the non-custodial parent has to pay that. And long story short, I just recently won the full custody battle.
Amen.
Bell for that.
And that felt good. That was a process.
Thank you. Can I have my bell? Can I have my bell back?
I didn't do that.
You just traced my bell. Yes.
Yeah, and it felt good. It was a long process. It took like 1.5 years, almost 2 years. A lot of money. But it was well worth it. Now I got my daughters full time, and it's a big difference, It feels good.
Awesome.
So here's my question. So let's dive on in here. What are some of the issues you witnessed from the outside looking in? And I'm asking that because me being the child, my father wasn't in the house. So you have a million questions when it comes down to that. I mean, your mother will try to explain some things. Other children who don't have fathers in the home will try. Then you have the kids who totally screw your head up even worse because they do have 2-parent homes. You got the rubbing it in, or they're just jealousy, even when it's not worth it. And you know what's the most irritating thing is when they try to say you should be lucky because my father get on my nerves or stuff like that. You know, and when you are desiring to have that relationship with your father. But I'm asking, that's from the child perspective. That's next week. what are some of the issues you witnessed from the outside looking in that you would, even if it was unspoken?
For me, being raised without a father as well, and that was totally a choice that he made. But I'm dealing with my 5-year-old right now, and the split up between his mom and I. So the thing that especially now in the 2000s, the vernacular of the child has changed, how they speak. It used to be when I was growing up, I didn't understand the word hate. I couldn't, even my father wasn't in the household, I didn't say that I hated my father. I didn't know you enough to hate you. But what I'm seeing right now is with these kids, the vernacular has changed. So you hear the word hate, depression is big with children now, as opposed to 30 years ago. I'm 40 years old. So it's a lot of dynamics that's been added to the things that you see when you're on the outside looking in. Even when picking up the child, how at one point in time that your child always wanted to be around you. Now all of a sudden, you go pick him up or her up. I don't want to go with you, or mommy said I didn't have to go, or you get that a lot now, and not just with my child, because we're working on our relationship, even with my oldest two, and like you said, I had a child out of high school myself, and that was the reason why I went into the military. But that is the main thing, the vernacular and the dynamic of how the child speaks, and the depression. It's crazy because sometimes when I see my child ball up in a knot and just go to a corner and start crying for no apparent reason, that's a problem. That's a problem. And we as men and as women, we need to get to the root of the problem. And we need to stop bumping heads. And that's the main thing within that dynamic of parents being split, is constant bumping of heads. And we need to get on the same page with that.
Like, did you notice anything from the father's perspective that stood out to you?
Yeah, I noticed one of my sons became like a mama's boy. He started getting a lot of little feminine tendencies, and he also started being like just spoiled. You know, just spoiled than what he normally was. And my other son, he lacked a lot of discipline because his mother's never knew without. And it's funny because his brother, I told him that his brother was the one who was going to jail for something because his mother spoiled him too much. And kind of find out he got caught up in a gang. He shot a kid in the head, went to jail. Now he in jail right now as we speak. The same kid I told him, his brother told me something's going to happen to his brother.
Wow.
So just to see that happen with the mother trying to raise both of them. And she, I don't need you coming around right now. You're trying to keep me out the picture, but I told her what was going to happen to the one son.
Yeah, definitely lack of discipline. Definitely lack of discipline.
So that's the one of the biggest things: lack of discipline, lack of relationship. Anything you saw?
And bitterness. Like he was saying, we had to come together and be a team. If more mom and dads be a team and put all the pettiness to the side, it'd be a lot more, beneficial, results. Like for instance, my kids, I recall when they was living with their moms, I went and bought some school tennis. She asked me, can I help out with school clothes and tennis, and I did. So I never forget this. I brought my oldest some Air Force Ones, but it was like a composition notebook pattern on the Air Force Ones.
I remember
so to
that.
me, that's to me that was dope.
Yeah.
And she's like the type that like unisex stuff because she's a tomboy, so I knew she would love it. As her dad, I knew she would love it. So I take her the shoes. She opened the box. Her first reaction, she was really, really happy. She was like, "Oh wow, these are dope. Like I love them, whatever, So her mom come and take a look at them, and she want her to be more girly or whatever the case is. So she said, "Oh no, these ugly. These are like for a boy or whatever." You know what I'm saying? And then instantly my daughter changed her reaction and said, "Oh no, I don't like these." And right there, man, that was like the most craziest moment. Like I wanted to just like grab something and just choke the life out of her.
That's
crazy.
That's what he's saying to Mike. Right into the mic, choke the life.
Yeah, you start.
Right.
And just that's one example of how the mom's not being a team player. Because she should have been grateful for what I bought, and just been thankful. But she made a big thing out of it. So
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay,
Definitely.
so all right. So I guess this is where we got to come in because we are the mothers in this situation. I think the biggest thing for mothers is we have to constantly remind ourselves. We have to guard our mouth. We have to put ourselves in the other shoes. These are like actions, steps that need. It's not a unconscious thing. Mm-hmm. Where if you were in some sort of relationship, it's almost like it's easier for you to say, "Oh well, your father bought them for you." I'm not getting into it. That's between you and your father, or stuff like that, because you want to, you want to keep the camaraderie in your home.
Right.
Most
but if you already have
animosity,
animosity with each other, huh?
You keep going.
Oh, I'm sorry. You already have animosity with each other, so it's like I don't have to watch what I say. I don't have to.
But that goes back to similar to the video that we were talking about that Michael Harrison Jr. was talking about in regards to the different, being a good black woman.
Yeah.
And while I don't necessarily always agree with it, but that chimes into the whole possessive love that we have.
Right.
It's conditional. And as much as we want to say we have this unconditional love, it's still conditional. Mm-hmm. I'm grateful for my baby father when he do things for my kids when it's what I want him to do.
Want him to do.
Right.
Because that's within the area of control that we like to have as independent black women. We feel the need to have control, and even things that we don't have control over psychologically, we create a way to have some level of control over it.
So my question is, when you bought the shoe. when you brought the shoes.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask this.
Yeah.
Did you pick out a pair of shoes that you like?
Yes.
No, because I know my daughter. I knew her better than anybody else.
You picked out a pair of shoes that you thought your daughter liked.
I knew for a fact that she would like them.
Okay, got
she's the type that wear the unisex clothes and shoes. My youngest, she's more girly, so I made sure I got her a more girly pair of shoes.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
And her reaction was exactly what I thought it would be.
Initially.
And to this day that she's older, this was like probably 6 years ago. Now she shop on her own and she pick out on her own shoes just like that.
And I by me knowing you, I believe that that's the case. Right. But from the mother's perspective, or some mothers, I ain't gonna really say I'm growing.
Yeah,
I'll give myself that.
And you know what?
Okay.
Speaking of control, I also went through when discipline needed to happen. She would say, "No, you're not gonna beat him. You're not gonna punish him."
You ain't gonna put your hands on
my
my
son. She
son.
wanted me to discipline him the way she wanted me to discipline him. But he in my house doing what he doing needs discipline. But you're not gonna beat my son. No,
but you have to understand though. That's true. But if you only show up every other month, and when you see him, you beating him, that's a problem. And so we have to be mindful of the big picture. So it's certain stuff that we as women feel an inherent need to be protective of our children, because you're not going to be there when they're balled up in a corner. If you're not showing up regularly, if you pop up once every 3 months and every time you see me, you want to beat him? No, you're not hitting my kid. Don't touch my son. You're not disciplining him any other time.
No, it wasn't that. See what it was? She would keep him away from me. She would keep moving. She would change phone numbers. She would take the cell phone that I would give him. So she would keep him away from me. She literally kept me away from him and would leave and move and duck out.
But is that always the case though? Because I hear a lot of guys that say that, but it's not that. Women just don't be paying y'all, they don't pay y'all no attention. Like you're not a factor in our lives on an everyday basis. So why do I need to keep up? Why I need to find you to give you my phone number? Like I'm not gonna keep doing that. And I mean, but I'm not saying that this is your case, but I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. So we have to be mindful. If we're not doing what we're supposed to do on our side, we can't expect the other person to pick up the slack. It's not a 50-50. It's a 100% involvement. So if I'm not doing 100%, I can't get mad at you because you're not stepping up to do the extra stuff that I'm not doing.
Right.
I mean, I have well, he not a taken father. He ran off father, but he plays that position. Like, oh, she keep my daughter away from her, and no, I don't. I'm just not chasing you state to state.
Okay. Now, mind you, I told you earlier that.
Wait a minute, because we gotta go to the commercial break. Well, we can still talk because you know we got the privilege today. Before we go to commercial break, the next question on the floor when we come back is using your individual situations. Do you feel that your presence in the home would have helped or hindered your child? And everybody's situation is different. So using that, and also viewers, we're still reading your comments. And those who are here, you can leave your comments and we will still be able to read them and we'll discuss it. The question on the floor is using your individual situation. Do you feel like your presence in the home would have helped or hindered your child? Or your child's father, do you think his presence in your home would have helped or hindered your child? We'll be right back.
Everybody, check out what you missed on the one and only Be Inspired radio show.
I'm just thankful this year I've dealt with some growing pains, and I've overcome some things, and I've also accomplished some things in the process. I've learned some things. Like I've learned, I learned that everybody loves your work until they got to pay for it. That's what That's what I learned. I learned everybody loves what you do.
The pay?
I mean,
not always.
Listen, the Bible says money answereth all things.
Well,
okay, and there is a place. There is a place where finances is necessary. And when you got kids and when you got a wife and then you doing everything and you top dog at what you do, especially when you weren't in the same place like with this radio show, you ain't in the same place you were a year ago. Should nobody be coming on the show and not donating to your show?
Can you say that on my show?
Should nobody be coming to your show?
Can you say that in the middle of the live?
Yeah, make that a promo, please.
Should nobody come on this show without donating?
That is a nice commercial.
I don't care if it's $20.
Donate.
Tune in to Be Inspired every Wednesday live at 7 p.m. right here on BeExposedRadio.com.
Hey everybody, it's Monty, the executive producer here at BeExposedRadio.com, and I'm here to talk about my show. I know, how selfish, right? Talk Lately with me, Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m. So what do we talk about on this show? I can tell you this, there has never been a show that I have gotten completely through the full agenda because our topics, our conversations are just that damn good. I cover politics, gossip, entertainment, and hey, I love a good panel discussion. Hey, get a group of people in here and let us debate it out. That is the best thing in the world. Not to mention, I take calls and texts, and I'll debate with you too. So why don't you get involved and be heard? What's that old adage? Closed mouths don't get fed. That says it all. So join me every Tuesday at 7 p.m. right here on BeExposedRadio.com. Call me at 410-702-5657. You can text at 443-642-9403. And don't forget to be heard and vote in our weekly poll right on the website. Check it out.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
We are back. The question on the floor was using your own individual situation. Do you feel like your presence in the house would have helped or hindered your child? I'm going to start with my situation. I think that my son's father presence in the home would have helped my situation. Because we had our own bad blood, but that's irrelevant.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, if we learn how to minimize ourselves, which is what we're supposed to do once this child is born anyway, is we are supposed to minimize. We're now, that's our main focus. That's the goal, grooming this new human being. That it would have, I say it all the time, Lasha knows, I'll say it, if we're perfect halves. If we were to work together, it would be nothing that our kids could not accomplish. There's no question about that. But what do you think?
In regards to that,
do you think that your presence in the home?
Oh, well, yeah, because
not necessarily in their lives specifically, like in the home, could have bettered.
I believe so
life.
because my baby mother was living with her mom, and she wasn't working, and then she moved in her boyfriend, who wasn't working. So from that,
They'll slide real quick.
You know, and me as a hardworking man, I hated the fact that my kids had to watch that. You know, a mom and another man not work. You know, but still be just living like, you know, they comfortable. I felt like my kids would have been a lot better seeing me go to work every day and coming home. And so that's why I would try to, you know, see them as much as possible in my uniform, you know, because they didn't live far from where I was working. So I would go on my lunch breaks, you know, see them, take them stuff. Yeah, exactly.
So you wearing a uniform was strategic. You wanted them to see
Most
you.
definitely.
You wanted to see a man. I get it.
Yeah.
I get that.
You know, so.
For me, like I said previously, that I come from the two different perspectives.
Right.
The military me, of course, very disciplined. You know, very on point. Very, everything was by the book. You know, we had a standard operating procedure. We went by that. For the children, at that point in time, I think that my presence. Well, I know that my presence in the home is paramount. But as a person that was in the streets, gang banging, leading other little kids astray, and, you know, selling dope and robbing and all that. As far as sending money, yes, but my presence in the home would have been detrimental. One is because they wouldn't have seen the discipline. They wouldn't have seen the standard operating procedure. They wouldn't have seen daddy's going to work, coming home, taking little Jimmy to football practice. I wasn't able to do that until I'll be honest with you, I didn't become a real man until I was 35 years old, 36 years old. And meanwhile, I was still in prison. You understand? So for me, as a military father, yes, in the home, definitely would have made a big change. But as far as the gang banging or the street father, honestly, I wouldn't have been able to be in. I couldn't honestly make that choice to be in the home with my children, knowing that at any given time, I could be shot. They could be shot.
That's deep.
You know what I mean? I could be robbed. You run up in my house thinking I have whatever in my house, and my kids are sleeping in the bed. You think he's gonna aim at me? You think he won't shoot my kids as well?
Look at
to
Chicago.
get at me?
Look at Chicago. You got the kids like just getting caught in the mix with their dad.
Definitely.
They picking them up from daycare, or they just riding around with and these kids is getting popped. It's crazy. Like, so yeah, I definitely feel you.
You know, it's crazy. And, you know, not to go backwards, but we also have to understand that, once again, it's systematic. Two, it's basically inherited. You know, if we look back 300, 400 years ago, the black male, his only role in the household was to be a mule, was to be to procreate.
Right.
And once he procreated, and any time that he was had the ability to discipline his child, what did the slave master do? Sold him off. He removed him. So who raised a child? Mama and Big Mama.
Yep.
So we see that in the dynamic today, grandmas and moms are the primary providers of their children while the fathers are absent.
That's true.
It's a psyche. We have to eliminate the psyche, and then we can get once we get to the root of the problem, then we can find a solution.
And this is the reason why everything that you're saying goes back to what I was saying in this piece. As you get to the latter part of the piece, about the renewal of the man and the mind, which then turns the renewal of the man.
Yes.
You know, his mind has to change first. But all that is what I was saying. I agree. I understand when you said the military dad is the dad that you think would have introduced order and that way of life into your children, of course. In which you have some military kids that would say,
oh yeah, most definitely, most definitely. I was a preacher's kid, and I was wild, so I already know.
You know, but then the other part, you know, and you would say, of course, you know, why would the father out there gang banging and this is that and the other would not have been the father? But that's from your perspective.
That's my perspective.
That's from the father, because the child would say,
I want my dad.
I want my father. You know, one way or the other, because you would have still had something to afford him. You would have still had something to give to them. But what stands out is the changing of your mind. Your mind changed in jail. How great would it have been for you to have been home and for your child to see the ship? Because then they saw the bad. Because most of the time, parents don't talk about their mistakes.
No.
I'm one of them. We don't do a lot of...
Well,
I mean, this our new age now, but it was not something that happened. Parents don't talk about it. So if you were not there to bear witness to they'll screw up and then they'll fix up. You have no idea how to fall.
Yeah.
You know, I had a parent say he was, you know, into drugs and stuff like that, and he said, well, my son is getting ready to do the same thing. I don't know how to, do I tell them the right way to do it, because he had some mess ups out there on the street, or I mean, because I don't want him to get himself hurt. I mean, I didn't told him not to do it, but he gonna do it anyway. So do I train him? This is a dilemma, you know, here. But he didn't get a chance to see his father change, because his father is still there, you know. So I feel like that you change. That's all you need to do. The fight, you still fighting because you still living a life that he want to be like daddy. You change. That's it. And your fight is over.
Yeah,
you know?
you're right about
but
that.
we got to go to the commercial break. Well, BeExposed.com got to go to the commercial break. We gonna let them. We gonna chat on. Be right back.
Out this snippet from the new season of Talk Lately with Monty about Jennifer Holliday.
Anyway, let's get back to
Yeah, well, what I wanted to say is that I can understand 100% where Jennifer Holliday is coming from, and that's sort of kind of where my 20% came from. When I basically came out and said who I voted for, I received a lot of backlash. Even on my own talk show, which comes on every Monday from 5 to 7 p.m., I was called a coon. Okay, yeah, shout out for the plug. But yeah, someone actually, you know, they told CJ Bernie that I was a coon, and that really hurt me. I've been called everything from a fat whatever and everything, but someone actually commented on his Facebook
I didn't even say that. That's kind of rough.
Called me a coon, but it's like I like you. It's crazy because I just feel like someone like Jennifer Holliday. I understand why she stepped down, but I'm kind of upset with her because I think she still should have performed. You know, if you're gonna jump out there, then stand in your truth. Don't let no one stop you or change your mind about anything. And listen, no one put a gun to her head and made her sign on for that. But it just seems like, you know, she was basically, she was bullied.
But see, the thing about it is they will put a gun to her head to not do it.
I don't think so.
Well, that's what the threat says. You gotta tell. It's why it's called a threat. You don't know the hypotheticals in there that could happen to you.
Why do you think
she's not a well-known singer, so she's not going around with security. As soon as she goes to get her tracks at the mall,
right?
Pow!
Right, but at the same time,
now we got a whole bunch of dead cats.
Yeah, but like what she said in the footage, you know, today on The View was basically it's not white people who was threatening her. It was us who was threatening her.
Right. Where do you think she live? I think she live in Atlanta.
Exactly.
They gonna get her at the Ku Klux Klan mall and drag her by her hair. You know her hair made a cat. She got the new weave.
I don't have Jennifer Holliday money, honey. I don't know what this, it might be because it's I don't got Jennifer Holliday money, but me personally, I feel as though, you know, like I said, once I kind of came out, and even being on this show, because I'm pretty sure the headline says Trump supporter, I'm putting a lot of myself out there. You know what I'm saying? So I get it.
Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. only on BeExposedRadio.com.
We're back. Mr. Paul Jackson was just saying, change your mindset. What was it? Change your life.
Change your life.
Absolutely. That should be everybody's T-shirt, logo, everybody. And I'm just a stickler for believing that it's amazing for a child to witness that. Right. Because usually we witness the end. Our parents have whatever they've accomplished. Or like me, I'm how you have the mother trying to get up. All you see is your mother gone all the time working, or your father away in the military, or like you just finished the fire.
Yeah, the academy.
The academy. You just yes he did. Yeah, woo woo woo. Yeah, yes he did. He big. He pretty big.
Can I ring that for?
Yes. but they.
I'm not promoting this Carsland Live. I didn't do that. Go ahead.
You just slide it in your.
I just slid it right. I just slid it right in this.
But, you know, it's just good. It feels good for a child to see the progression. That's what we don't get an opportunity to see much. Is our parents fail or I'm sorry. Huh?
Go ahead.
Understand the failure. Were you saying something?
Yeah, I wanted to just chime in. I think as parents, we need to find balance. Hold on, let me turn my mic up. as as parents, we need to find balance, because what happens is we get caught up in our adult thing and we forget that we have children, or we remember we have children but we forget that they're little people.
Yeah.
Because I've noticed, even within myself and my daughter, it'd be like I get little flashes where I'd be like, what are you doing? Like, you know, and then it'd be like, hold up, she's 4. You know what I mean? Like those are the things. And you know, a lot of times, especially because, you know, life is hard these days. You know, everything is expensive, everything is hustle and bustle. We tend to forget about to slow it down, to say, well, you know what, hey, let me go do something with my child. Right. That regardless of, because in a lot of cases, we all have had them points in time where you actually didn't care if mommy had money or if daddy had money or whatever. It was, I wanted daddy to come walk with me to the store, or I wanted mommy to come push me on the swing. Those are the things that matter. And a lot of the times we get caught up in all of the stuff that we have to do in order to maintain our regular lives, that we forget that those little things like that. Like, you can not have a job, but the best dad in the world is a dad who kid can always say, I know where I can get my daddy to help me.
Even the ones, even though it's not what you want, but the ones that's on the corner. And it's crazy. I just feel like, and the reason why that stands out to me is because you hear so many guys who feel like, I don't need to be around them like this. You know, they want to get their life together first. I'm like, I get it, you know, and it's definitely Russian roulette, or if you want to call it that, you know, but at what cost, you know? So, okay, let's go to the next question. Do you think, well, this goes with that. Do you think in the case of a father not having his own life together, his presence alone would outweigh the bad?
Definitely.
Yeah, I believe so.
I believe so.
Yep.
You say yeah?
Definitely.
Yeah, of course.
And I think maturity is what answers that question. Because a young guy they don't see it from that perspective. And or it's in a situation like you said, it's too late. You're in jail now, and now you're saying, and you don't realize that until they do come visit you. And they're bringing you report cards, or they're bringing you homework, and then you're giving them incentives. You know, the next time you come back, if you gotta be, advice. Then blah 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 blah, or advice, like you said.
Priceless. If I could have just had one conversation with my pops, I never met him, but like I recall earlier, like you guys were saying, if you haven't seen your kid in months, but all of a sudden you want to whip his behind. I wish my father would have came out of just anywhere out the sky, just once a year, just whipped my butt
with that switch.
Gave me some advice and went about his business. You know what I mean?
So you go get that switch out that tree.
I'd rather have that than nothing at all, and that's why I had nothing at all. And yeah, you know,
like, I mean, I think the worst feeling for me being incarcerated was not being able to be there when my father died. Fortunate enough for me, I spent enough time in that particular place where I had a little leeway. I got a call in the middle of the day stating that my father was on the phone. By the time they can get me out of my cell to where he was at, or to the phone, he had already passed.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So, you know, and not being able to get there, and even though he wasn't in my life, he was still my father. And that's what we have to realize. Unless it doesn't matter, he's still your father.
Exactly.
And for that alone, you show that respect and you show that love. I don't care if he's the biggest dope fiend on the street, or the biggest hustler, or the biggest mess up. He's your father. And that's what it is for me. You know,
I'm gonna skip to question number 6, because to go with what you're saying, Father's Day just passed, and there was some negative comments about absentee fathers that flooded social media. How do the fathers that were not in a home respond to that? Because I know, I want to be careful. I don't hurt nobody, okay? But I know how I felt. Being one of many siblings. You know, I don't do too much with the sugarcoat, you know, but you know how, you know, but being one of many siblings, I know how I felt, because you want to understand the child's perspective. How she perceived the situation is how he or she perceives the situation. You know, but then is it how do the fathers respond to, like, you fought for your children, and that is like you could do not telling you do that, but you could do nothing else. And you'll always win in their eyes because you put forth the effort to fight for them. Like, you could tap out, woo, I'm done. Like, you done. You know, and they gonna love daddy. But you know, how do you respond to a child saying negative things about you on Father's Day?
Well, you know, the mom is the root. If that ever happens,
or the grandma.
Or the grandma, right? It's some adult that's that's been an influence on that kid to get that kid to think those things and say those things.
Not always.
Most of the time.
Most of the time. But children learn after being disappointed over and over again. They develop and cultivate their own mindset. My daughter was 18 when she made the decision that, okay, I'm good. I'm good. Like, my husband, ex-husband, was always daddy there, but what daughter wouldn't want her biological dad to be in her life?
Most definitely.
His inability to do the things that he thought he should do is what kept him away. Not me, not her, but what he cultivated in his mind as our negative perception.
Most definitely.
Excuse me. Can everybody just speak up a little bit more, because we're talking in the mic, so beexposed.com and YouTube can hear us perfectly, but because we are broadcasting live from Lash's phone, they can't. Okay. So just make sure we speak up a little bit louder so that they can hear too. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But yeah, just like you talked about the Father's Day negative comments, not a year past that we didn't send him a Father's Day text. Didn't know where to send a card to because he was all over the place. But not a year went by that we didn't send him Father's Day text, Happy Birthday text, Merry Christmas text, Thanksgiving text. Wow. But in his mind, we had a negative perception of who he was because of what he wasn't doing. I can imagine the level of depression that he went through because of his inability to do the things that he thought he should be able to do. Right. So just on this level of thinking about it, when you see how people respond, that has got to tear a hole in the heart of a man.
Oh yeah.
Because even if they're not doing anything in their mind, they're doing the best that they can. Whatever is keeping them from doing what they need to do, you know, it's their struggle. But we don't always understand it. We have to learn how to be empathetic. We want things to be a certain way for our children, but it ain't always that way. And those struggles can make them stronger or can make them bitter, depending on how we approach it as the adults. I said I wasn't gonna say nothing. I'm the camera girl.
As I was growing up, my father was in the penitentiary my whole child life. And Christmas, I'm waiting for him to come before they told me he was locked up and everything. So kind of find out, I kept asking my stepfather what was my father locked up for. They kept telling me because he killed the boogeyman. Kind of find out he killed a couple of people. But when I found out, it's like, okay, he's still my father. Like, I didn't look at it feel no different because he was locked up for murder or locked up for this or that. That's my father. I still want my dad. You know what I mean?
Right. Because he was your father before he was a murderer. Exactly. You know, or whatever they allegedly. I don't know the situation.
So
you know, but
most mothers tell their children, especially their sons, like, "Oh, Dad's away at school. He's at college." Like, we make excuses, even regardless, because we don't want to hurt our children.
Right.
We don't want them to go through the process that you went through. You know. Well, why they lock my father up? Because even regardless of what he did, it can't be that bad to take him from me.
But that goes right back to what I'm saying. If they did something wrong, I think that the children should know. Let them see the renewing of the man. Yes, I screwed up, and this is my consequence for doing whatever it is that I did. You know, sugarcoating it they're going to find out.
What that does, it helps the child when they go through that situation. It helps them to say, okay, it's okay to fail. Because if Michael Jordan would have missed how many shots, he would never been as good as he was.
Sure.
So we're gonna slip, we're gonna fall. We're gonna make some mistakes, but if somebody keep telling you, no, we did everything right, then when the child start making mistakes, you're not gonna understand.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
That's deep.
I think everybody has a different approach based on age group and relationship and all those other things that play a part. This particular scenario, the kids were like 3 and 5, and they knew what jail was, but from their understanding, the idea of their father having to be in a place like jail was not the perception that they wanted to give to the children. So they lied until they got older. When they got older, they started taking them to, they kind of educated them and got them to the place, and they saw that. But a lot of people just don't want to taint the image that they have of their fathers. They just don't want to do that.
Remember last show we were saying children look at their fathers as Superman.
Superman,
It's a superhero to them. So now you're going to tell me that this superhero is bound in bondage because he's this horrible person? Because you see with the media or with how they speak about what jail is, and when you think of jail, you think of this big scary place where all the bad people go. So my father, who I consider to be Superman, must be one of the bad people, which again is strategic.
Yep. You know what's funny? When I got locked up, when I went to do the divorce, I got locked up, and Tarver told the kids, she don't mind. Tarver told the kids that I was working overnight, all night. She never told them that I was locked up. I was so mad. I'm like, you mean to tell me you didn't tell them I was locked up? She said, yeah, I told them that she was working all night. All the many days? Yeah.
But some
maybe she just thought she was covering you.
Yeah, some stuff isn't for the kids to know. Like some stuff is just, you don't need to know all that.
Not yet.
Some stuff they don't need to know at all. Some stuff is just
some things I would.
It's some stuff I'm taking to. I talk to my daughter about a lot of stuff, but it's some stuff I'm taking to the grave, and they're not talking to nobody about it.
Right. Nobody. Unless it hits you in the face. Because remember, as I said in this piece, it's some DNA inherited behaviors. Yeah, that you might.
She wanted to take it to the grave with her too. Don't tell me. I don't want to know.
All right. So we'll be going to commercial break in a minute. But since we're on this, I wanted to get into the whole with the U.S. Census Bureau says 24 million children in America. 1 out of 3 live without their biological dad. And there are 10 fatherless facts here that I want to get into real quick, and I want to find out your perspective on these. What did you, Matt? How many minutes? 30 seconds. All right. So when we come back, we're going to get into the incarcerated fathers and some of these fatherless facts. And I want to know, after hearing these, do you think it's ever worth it to walk away? After we get into some of these facts. So we'll be right back. BeExposedRadio.com or YouTube Live at the moment.
Your presence as a father and as a man at home.
Are you thinking about getting your GED diploma? Well, here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we've got a number of pep talks that can motivate you.
Sometimes things don't always turn out the way you want them to.
You know that feeling? People look at you and don't believe in you.
You want some gentle encouragement.
Then you're on your way to your GED diploma and a better life.
But I know they're probably just a little bit nervous.
You can find it in yourself to take that first step.
You can improve your future. You can do this. I know you can.
You need to start pushing yourself.
Now get your game face on and take the first step towards a better life. Hurry up. Don't make me repeat myself.
Whatever level of motivation you need to get your GED diploma, we've got a pep talk that's right for you. Call 1-877-38-YOUR-GED or visit yourged.org for your pep talk and find free GED classes in your area. GED is a registered trademark of the American Council on Education. Brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Thank you for tuning in to BeExposedRadio.com. Sit back, relax, and listen to this flashback of the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
Football, you basically have a good 10 to 12 years, and that's what it is.
When you have a lot of people retiring early, it's funny. A lot of me and my alumni from UVA, where I graduated from, one of our fellow Wahoos, he retired yesterday, 32 years old. To Shaw Ferguson, and he's been in the league like 10 or 12 years. So like you said, a lot of guys are making that that change on their own now because they're seeing a lot of things from the the concussion movement,
right?
Stuff that's been happening. Is not the noun, is the effects later, because you see different stories of men are in like their 50s and some are committed suicide because of the banging and the voices or the concussions. And
did you see that?
I haven't got a chance to see it. But
not the movie, but did you see those effects?
I have seen concussions in college where guys have played that whole entire game and didn't realize they was at a football game.
Wow.
But like before the big emphasis came about the whole concussions and what's going on, we was taught you run to the wall. You can't be soft. You shake it off and get back in it. So
the wrong attitude to have.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really internal. Like you really doing damage, not just to your bones,
right,
but to your mind.
Everything. Right. And later on down the line, because just like you said, once the game is over, when you've been in a game and you think about it, because I tell people the NFL, any sports, whether it's male or female, is a semi-military, because you're told when to get up, when to work out, what to eat, when to play. All right, now you got a curfew, you got to be in the bed by this time. You do it for years and years, and all of a sudden, bam, it's done. So what do you do?
Right.
So just like the military they have.
Thank y'all for tuning in and staying with us with our technical difficulties. Those who are just tuning in, we are on BeExposedRadio.com and YouTube live at the moment. If you're on Facebook, we are live via Facebook, live on the Sunset Soul page. If you can't, where's your microphone? Is at the bottom? Wait a second.
I don't know.
Okay. If you can't hear us, please let us know, those who are on Facebook Live. The question on the floor before we left was, we were going to get into the fatherless facts about the U.S. Census Bureau's, about the 24 million children in America. 1 out of 3 live without their biological dad in the home. And these are some of the facts that, I guess these are some of the situations that they have to deal with being in the home without their fathers. 1, children in father absent homes are almost 4 times more likely to be poor. And we got into that when we were talking about the singles mothers and I forgot the percentage, but it was a high percentage of poverty. Supposedly that's a single mom's that's a thing, like for us, supposedly. I didn't know that the poverty was that belonged to us, supposedly. More likely to suffer emotional and behavioral problems. 2 times greater risk of infant mortality. And I never knew that. More likely to go to prison. 4 out of 5 inmates had fatherless homes. More likely to commit crimes. More likely to abuse drugs and alcohol. More likely to face abuse and neglect. 2 times more likely to suffer obesity. I feel some kind of way about that, but my father wasn't home, so it's his fault. I'm saying. I quit. I'm just saying. I quit. 2 times more likely to drop out of high school. 7 times more likely to become pregnant as a teen, and they didn't say it, but they should have added and repeat the cycle. That's what should have been there next, but it wasn't. So I'll add it.
Definitely.
So the question is, based on this, because like we asked, is there a time that you felt like that your presence would have either helped or hindered? Using this, is it ever a time that your presence is worth it? Your presence, you're not being there is worth it?
Never. I say something is better than nothing.
Right.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, if I had it all over to do again, I think I would be in the home. No. I don't think. I know I would be in the home.
You know better, you do better.
It's just it's a matter of now, especially looking at these kids growing up and having a 5-year-old and being able to raise him from, like, I didn't have the opportunity to do kindergarten graduations. I didn't have the opportunity. My oldest son just graduated from high school, didn't even know it. So these are the things that you go through, and it's crazy because I had more access to them when I wasn't paying child support. Soon as I got on child support, all communication stopped. So Yeah, so if I had it all over to do again, simply because I don't want them to repeat, and not saying that they will repeat my cycle or their mother's cycle, because she graduated, from school, from college. I've graduated from college. So we've all progressed. But like I said, if I had it all over to do again, I would be in a home regardless of my situation. I think that's paramount. It's the most important thing a father can do, is be in their child's life. I believe that the father's role in the house for his girl, his baby girl, is to teach her and to show her the proper way a man should teach her or treat her. As far as the son, the father's role in the household, of course, discipline, but at the same time to show his son what a man does and what a man is.
Exactly. How to be a man.
How to be a man.
How to shave.
So y'all stand on a woman can't teach a man.
No, I'm not saying that, because I know there's a lot of single women out there that has raised great upstanding young men.
Right.
But I think that there's a dynamic in that. If you take that away, then it causes a lot of conflict. It causes, because the son gets to an age where he challenges mom.
Yep.
Yeah, that's definitely.
He challenges mom. Yep. And if I'm not saying the father, but if there's not a male role model in the house or outside the household, it becomes a problem.
That's where I'm at.
Yep.
Matt, you have
too.
I firmly believe that a woman, regardless of how strong, how educated, how whatever, a woman cannot teach a man how to be a man.
I don't know.
Raise him to be a good person.
Okay, listen. Facebook, Matt, our engineer, said he strongly believes, no matter how strong,
no matter how.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Here y'all go.
I believe firmly that a woman cannot teach a man how to be a man. The only thing that a woman can do is show him how to be a good person.
Yeah.
But there are subtle nuances that men have to show men.
True.
Yep.
Okay.
That's true.
Exactly.
Just like with a woman. We can't teach a little girl how to be a woman.
Yes, you
Exactly.
can.
Wow.
Yes, you can.
Wow.
Men,
You
a
can
man
teach her
can't teach a girl how to
expectation.
be a lady.
You can teach an expectation, and you can teach a standard.
Expectations.
Yeah, but there's
there
certain
are also,
limits.
like,
There's certain
there are
limits.
subtle
Like
things
what you do when they get that
only a
period.
woman
Go
can
get some
show a
pads.
woman or a girl.
But you can't show them how to.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
instructions on
You
the thing.
can't, man.
My wife does that.
It's instructions on the packet.
You
My
can
wife
go.
does
You
that.
can go to a
You can
whole
do it.
school on YouTube on how to be
Yes.
anything you want to be.
I think it's simplest form.
I think the difference though.
But there's still certain things that
Wait, you got to start over.
As men, there are certain things that no man, no matter how comfortable, no matter how whatever, there are certain things that a man cannot show a girl. No man nowhere wants or is willing to show his
Exactly.
He's willing.
Or a girl can show a man. For instance, my oldest right now is growing breasts. And I don't want to see it. My wife brought it up just the other day, like, yeah, she just grew 2 cup sizes. I'm like, okay, I don't want to see that. To me, that's scary. Like, to me, it makes me angry.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Mr. Benton just said, I am 37 years old and I turned out pretty good without having a father due to him being killed. Never been in jail, never been on drugs, never drank. My mom raised me and my siblings without never being married since 1985. I made a vow to be the dynamic father dad to my 3 kids. So he turned out to be an awesome...
You have 2 different dynamics, though. You have that, and then you have this.
The other.
Yeah, I mean, in simplest forms, the worst thing that bothers me about my son is walking to the bathroom and he's urinating with his pants all the way down. And that comes from...
What is that? That is a guy thing. That hate for a boy to sit down or pull his clothes over.
You don't go into no public restroom and pull your pants all the way down at
if
the
you
urinal.
have on a romper, you will have to do that.
No rompers allowed.
We're not wearing rompers in my household. So, but yeah, I think I mean, you have 2 different dynamics. You have this where he 37 and everything's good, but also you have this dynamic over here where, okay, you're looking at poverty, you're looking at a lot of different things, you're looking at mom working 2 or 3 jobs. You know what I'm saying? I remember, when I was raised, I was what you call a latchkey kid. I raised myself. I had the key around my neck. When I got off the bus, I knew what to do when I got home. So I mean, that's great. That's great that you can be at that age and be raised by. I was raised by predominantly all females. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that I'm the greatest person. I'm not saying I'm the worst person, but I think that there's pros and cons in everything.
Yeah, I agree. And let me listen. I kid a lot about that, but again, I'm going to toot my own horn that eventually I'm growing. Because I do feel it is needed. I do believe there are some nuances, as you say, that I cannot give to my son. Nor do I want to give it to them. I don't want to have the masturbation conversation. I don't want to be no part of it.
I don't want to have that conversation.
I don't want it. I don't want.
Oh my gosh!
I don't want the conversation. I don't want no parts of it.
The day that you walk into the room and step in something inappropriate, you're gonna have the conversation.
What?
Oh, I want to bang on the table.
Okay.
Oh,
right now. Right now.
Serious
Okay, listen, Facebook. I'm sorry. Listen, BeExposedRadio.com and YouTube Live. We will be right back.
But
stay tuned.
We still here.
Yeah, this the man that holds it down, Mr. Showtime, D the Boss. Check us out every Saturday, 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
I'm in a relationship. Mm-hmm. My girl happens to be long distance. Mm-hmm. So with that being said,
I beat my thing like it owes me money.
Sorry.
Because I asked that because so many people are not comfortable.
Here's my thing. It's mine.
That's right.
And you need to know yourself before you can have somebody please. If you can't tell nobody how to please you, if you don't know how to please yourself.
That's right.
You know what you like. You know what you like. You know the stroke, all that. Mm-hmm. So you're right. And I mean, you shouldn't be ashamed of it. It's your body. Yeah, I'm over here struggling with the ear.
Yeah, I'm glad it's you today. I'm glad you today, brother.
Oh, this thing going to drop. It's going to drop about at least like 5 times.
I'm over there struggling.
So ED, do you have a problem with masturbating?
No, I don't. I don't masturbate often because I have a fear of going blind. So yes, when I found
you could go blind from
I read about it. Is that true? No, it's not true.
It's not.
Okay. Because I was going to say I should have been blind a long time ago.
Let me drop some knowledge on you real quick.
I was just playing.
But
Hey, what's up, good people? It's the man you all know and love, E Digger. Make sure you check us out every Saturday from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Locked in bathroom
door, brother. That's what you got. We're back on Sunset Soul, as you heard. Lock the bathroom door.
Take a long shower.
Y'all know how we went to a commercial break. We came back just how we went to commercial break. The same conversation. That's still I don't want to pause to that. None. But I don't even remember what we was talking about. The whole masturbation conversation took everything away.
We were talking about.
I don't want to teach. I don't want to. Nuances. Why the father is needed. Right. I don't want no parts of it. All right. So, this is what I want to get into because we are really late into the show. After everything, we had a lot of technical differences. So, those who are here, I truly appreciate you, you staying with us this episode, and we will make this up to you. I'm not quite sure how, but we will. We're going to jump into the child's questions real quick, and if we have time, then we'll backtrack and go to some of the other ones that I had. But let's start with the adult child's. This one? Okay. The adult child's questions. Number 1. I'm saying do you because this is the way they worded it. Do you really love me? If relationship develops over time, and that was something you and I certainly didn't have, how could you possibly love me?
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You got something to say? Matt? Oh, I thought you were saying.
This is a child asking the father.
This is a child asking a father. Yes, who wasn't there.
Because you consumed that child. Love doesn't have anything to do with it being there. You know, of course you can make it stronger, and your love can be more, firm. But you don't have to see your child. You can get your child up for adoption, see him one day, see him 20 years later, and you love him.
And you still have that same love.
Yeah, it's a connection.
Love, in my opinion, a parent's love. In my opinion, a parent's love is like symbiotic with the whole fact of having the child. You know, unless you know your child was conceived under horrible circumstances, there is a level of love that you'll have regardless whether you're there or not.
Yeah.
The problem is that the other stuff that goes along with having a child with a whole nother human being is what sometimes chases a father and or a mother away from the child.
Yeah.
What a parent has to does when they get put in that situation, in my opinion, is to actually talk to them. You know what I mean? Explain to them like, hey, you're an adult, so now I could tell you what it really is.
What it really is.
Right. You can clearly understand, and then once you have that conversation, a real open, honest, and heartfelt, true conversation with that child, I believe that you can find closure and peace, and then move on. Because I've known people that have met their parents way later on in life, and they tight just as if they grew up with the parent in the household.
That's wisdom. You know?
Yeah, but that's a whole different relationship, though. That's a totally different relationship. The relationship that I have with my daughter now is not the same relationship that I had with her in middle school, and it's not the same relationship I had with her in elementary school, nor is it the same one when she was a baby. They're different segments of relationship. So even though we are able to reestablish something later on in life, they still missed out on something that they're never going to get back. So as a child asking a question like this, nothing that you say can't answer that. It's not going to be good enough. All you can do is say, what do I need to do from this point on,
moving forward,
so that you can feel secure.
But you know what? If Iyanla was here, Iyanla would tell you
I don't like
that
her.
you are here. You go. You that adult is still in that child place. They've grown, but you talking if Mr. Paul, if you're my father and I'm 36 right now, my conversation with you is whatever age you left me at. It's where I am. So I do believe something. I get it. Of course, you don't have to teach me how to ride. Maybe, because sometimes you do got to teach a grown person how to ride a bike. But there are some things. I know how to go to the bathroom now. You know, I know how. But you're talking still to a child, because that child yearn for something that they never got, so they are still at that age.
Check this situation out. All right, I've been in my daughter's life our whole time, you know, my ex-wife, and so Jalen just had a birthday a couple of months ago, well, a couple of weeks ago. So I posted on Facebook about Jalen. She been there for me. She never said you're not my father, the whole nine. So it's pretty much I was shouting out Jalen for how she's been for me since I've been in her life, since I've been married to her mother. My daughter saw the post, responded real disrespectful towards me, thought that I was wrong because, like she said, Daddy, you only got one daughter. That's not your daughter.
Oh, God.
I'm like, like to this, right now, she not speaking to me. She didn't call me Father's Day or nothing. Right. So she feels some type of way because I call Jalen my daughter. But through marriage, she is my daughter.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But I don't even think that that's and let me be clear, I don't really want to get into impersonal, because I know that, you know, this is, you know, your family.
It's cool.
But no, I'm saying I don't think defending your position, your relationship with Jalen is because her argument is not with that.
Exactly.
Her argument is not with, to me, it's not with Jalen. Her argument is because she doesn't have that relationship.
That's exactly what I told her. I said, each one of the kids reach out to me. I reach out to them. We have a regular relationship. You only call me when you want something.
But okay, let's.
And
keep
I'm
going.
there for you when you ask for it.
Let's keep going, because that's. I don't want to go too far into that, because that's also one of these questions.
Okay.
Did you answer to this right? Yeah. Why was it easier for you to stay and raise someone else's children but leave me?
Wow.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Because that'd be like, oh, he got a girlfriend with kids now, so he's spending time with them and not us. But it's two different situations. Obviously, you want to be the man you're supposed to be. People grow. You go through different phases. So 10 years ago, you could have been somebody else. Now you're trying to be a better man.
Yeah.
But you can't go back to that, you know, that past relationship, because the damage is done. They don't want you. So you got to start over and be the man you always wanted to be. You know what I mean? Now, for the guys that actually do that and don't want nothing to do with their real kids,
that's horrible.
That's bad. That's horrible. But, you know, for the guys that do that and still want their real kids in their life and they want to make it one big family, like how I did, that's cool. I got mad stepdaughters, you dig? And I got my daughters, so we one big family.
And I think that's how it should be.
That's how it should
but
be.
sadly, most guys are not mature enough to do it that way. Most guys, they start over from scratch, and this dynamic makes me feel good. It makes me feel validated as a man.
Exactly.
I don't have to deal with the drama with my baby mama.
Right.
So I'm just going to keep this circle here. If my new chick don't feel like being bothered with my kids, then I just won't tell them that we're going to Six Flags this week.
Right.
But then when they find out later, they hurt.
crazy.
So like we have to be honest about who we are, where we are, and if that is the case, say it. Because while we say that women that can't handle the truth, we can, because we already know it.
Definitely.
Right.
Period.
Most
We
of the
already
time,
know
and like
it.
you said, that's connected with the fight. It's easier for me to just not tell you that we're going to Six Flags than for me to put forth the effort to fight, or to tell my current girlfriend, no disrespect, either just me and you gonna go and we not gonna take no kids, or I'm gonna pick up my kids. You know, like that's just, we all can go. Well, I mean, it's cool if you don't want no children.
And that should be a red flag. That should immediately be a red flag. Why would you want to be with a woman that has a problem? But no, why would you want to be with a woman that has a problem with your children?
Or you got the ladder of that, which I had a privilege of going through, whereas your kid's mom was in a relationship, you're in a relationship, you know, everything's going good with the relationship you're in, she has kids and whatnot, and you get invited and your child gets invited to go to a certain area, whether it be, you know, Virginia, whatever case may be, vacation, whatever case may be, and then you have this person on this side say, oh, my kid ain't going nowhere with her.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You my thing was, you can't afford to take him.
Right.
He wanted to go. Why is it a problem?
Why is it a problem?
You know,
we ain't asking for no money from you.
We ain't asking for anything. You know? All I need is his clothes. Let's ride.
There you go.
But it's always that moment where I don't want my child around that bitch or something like that. You know what I mean? It's just in general. But that's what we deal with. And like for me, I got out of a relationship and I raised a child since he was 10. I raised a little girl since she was 4 years old. My son was born in 2011. At the end of this relationship, as a man, because now my mindset's changed, they knew. I told them I was leaving the house. And what I told the 17-year-old, I said, you know I'm leaving. I said, but don't understand this, dig this. You ever need me, I'm still here. You know? So as a man, you have to you have to be on point with it, because you can't raise somebody else's child in a household and then just leave, because if their fathers wasn't around, you're the only father that they know. Now that if you leave and don't say anything, now they feel that, oh, I'm a piece of shit. I'm expendable. I'm expendable because my father didn't want me, and now this other man is leaving me. You know what I'm saying? So
and that's why the judge make that man pay child support for that kid, even though it's not his kid. Because, like you said, you've been there that whole time. Now you're dipping off. If she take you to court, she's gonna make you pay.
I hate child support.
I don't really agree with
I hate
that.
it too, but I'm saying that's
But I get my check regularly.
Ring the bell and let us know.
All right, let's move on because time is leaving us. Why did you give up?
Forward to Nick's comments.
Why did you?
I mean, not Nick.
Matt. Why did you give up fighting? We hear often that the court is what tore you from the home. Why did you stop fighting?
I almost stopped fighting.
You here with us already. Whenever you're ready. No.
Well, and for me, I haven't been through that fight yet. You know what I'm saying? But I've seen it. And a lot of the times what happens from men and women that I both talk to about the situation, it's like, I don't know. All right. It's like, what's a good way I could put it? The way it makes sense to everybody. It's like going into a boxing match, knowing you're going to get punched in the face, but then they put on brass knuckles. So then it be like, geez, do I want to keep getting banged in the mouth with these brass knuckles? Or do I want to protect my chin and just stand over there in the corner and wait? Because that's what happens. Because I know a lot of dudes, I've been there myself, where it'd be like, man, I'm going to wait till they get older. You know what I mean? But you can't do that. You can't, but sometimes that's the only option.
In the back of your head, that's what you really want to do,
You know what I mean? Because it's like, yo, either it's going to escalate to something horrible and my child will hate me forever, or I bow out to save myself
and your child
and try to repair that relationship later.
My ex-wife told me, she said, she is controlling you with him. I didn't understand it. Whatever she wanted from me, she would get it by with him. If I wouldn't do it, she'd take him away. So I see my son for a week. She wants something, I don't do it. Or I can't babysit because I'm going out with my wife. She take him for a month. I'm calling, I can't get in contact with him. Oh, I come over, she trying to get me and her boyfriend to fight. So it's like I went as far as to go get. I was gonna get custody. I asked him because he was old enough. So I'm gonna get custody rights to see you and all this stuff. Is that cool? No, I don't want you to do that. So since I'm asking him, do he want me to do it? Because I don't want to put him in a situation where now he has the right to be with me on these days, but he's miserable and don't want to be there.
Why do we do that though? Because they're children. Like all you know is what has been put in front of you. As the adult, I'm going to make the executive decision to say, I don't care whether you like it or not. You come into my house and you're going to sit down. You're going to learn. You're going to get this discipline. You're going to get this work. You can go back home and complain all day, but you're going to see for yourself.
Let's jump to number 5. With you saying that, we're going to skip number 4. Number 5 is so what? I'm angry. Why use that as an excuse to run?
It wasn't.
So what?
It's easy to bow out and use any excuse. This is something that my current ex-husband is current because technically we still married. Always say any excuse will do. When it's something that you want or don't want, any excuse will do. All you need is to find that one excuse that'll stick.
That's it.
And you'll just keep plugging away at it. At the end of the day, if you don't want to be there, you don't want to be there. You don't need to find an excuse. If you want to stay, then you stay. You don't need to find an excuse. If I want to have a relationship with my children, it ain't nothing nobody can tell me. Unless you get a restraining order.
Right.
And even that, I'll be in jail.
It got so bad.
Yes.
When he would come to the house,
That's how I feel, man.
He would call her on the phone to talk to her. She would have him saying he ready to go home. So he would come over. I ain't seen him in a while. He'd come there. She called, talk to him. Now he ready to leave. She come get him. It got to the point where her and my ex-wife got into a fight. Because she wanted to come to the house to come and get him.
Yeah, you're not coming.
She would come and bring drama to the house.
Yeah, you're not coming, and I'll call the police.
That's how
I'm sorry. And we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that, but sometimes that's the stuff that you have to do to show people that you're not playing. This is how serious that I am about this situation. And then at the end of the day, it'll all backfire in your face because when you want to get custody, the courts are going to ask you, well, what did you do?
What fight? What did you? What effort did you put forth? Documentation. The biggest thing is guys look at fighting as just verbal and effort. I'm just going. Everything is not just feet to pavement. You know, that works. But you got to start writing things down. You got to start seeking actual counsel and guidance. What steps should be taken so that I can be in the women, and I'm saying this, and I'm a woman. We do not have all the rights. We do not have all our word is not the last word. But you have to put forth the effort to find out what you can and can't do. You might not have been able to get full custody, but you could have started with joint custody.
I want to make a statement.
Wait, he is about to pass out.
The
Go ahead, because you said we had 1 minute.
All right, I'm gonna be quick. What it is that when it comes to men fighting for their children, sometimes it's hard for a man to fight for his child when he was raised by a woman only. Believe it or not, because all men, regardless of how chauvinistic, misogynistic he may be, all men hold women, no matter how much that woman get on their nerves. Every single man everywhere, except those few that's weird. Hold women in a place that when it starts to get too most men will be like, okay, I'm sorry, I don't want it.
It's too much.
I'll go.
I don't want no problem.
And it's not for lack of trying. It's kind of like a fear, because when man and woman get into argument, man goes to jail. Every man knows that. No,
lady,
it's true. That's very true.
They call, we going.
You
ain't even gotta touch her.
Not true. Not true.
No, but
because I almost got locked up and I called.
Oh yeah, y'all get locked up too. If y'all
not as often.
She said almost.
I know when to shut up. That's the problem. Most people don't know when to shut up.
Mr. Benton said men have to be an example and show the child that you are the father. I just think that children want to see by any means necessary.
Yeah, and on that note, I want these guys to be mindful or be aware that unless you go to court, you have joint custody. Now, there was a time when child support automatically assigned custody. That's not the case anymore.
Right.
Unless you go to court and somebody gets full sole custody, you have joint custody.
Yep. Okay. Even if the mother gets social services for
yes.
that child,
you still have joint custody.
The mom don't have full custody.
No. Right.
A lot of men believe that initially. So
because that's what they live with. Right.
Exactly.
So you don't, and I'm not saying this to go snatch a kid and run off.
Right.
But just be mindful.
You got rights.
Don't do that. Right. Don't do that. And please don't say Sunset Soul.
The beautiful thing, we have an awesome relationship to this day.
You and the
me and him.
Oh, the son. Is he coming next week?
Huh?
This is the son.
No, not that
next
one.
Week?
My other son.
Okay.
But he saw how his mother would do stuff, and but it was like he didn't want to disrespect his mother.
Right.
I'm his father. I'm looked at as the bad one, so he just waited.
We got to take BeExposed.com and YouTube Live on commercial break. Facebook Live, we still chatting. We'll be right back.
Yep.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com, the home of Talk Lately with Monty, every Tuesday at 7 p.m.
There's a rumor going around that Tyler Perry and Oprah are beefing. Well, let me tell you about this. Tyler, okay, told Oprah, bitch, if you don't have my money, we're going to have a problem. Ooh. Oprah said, what is the problem? Ooh. You said if I don't have your money, there was going to be a problem. So Oprah is standing her ground like, bitch, I'm in charge. Yeah, you may have a $250 million studio over there that you film all your shows and movies and stuff on, but I have the empire. That's what Oprah said.
Oh, these are her exact words. Allegedly.
I made this up. But
allegedly.
I made it all up. But there was a rumor that they were beefing. But Tyler confirms that they don't have any issues. So it says it was recently reported on the rumors that was swirling that the twosome were on the outs over constructive criticism of a Perry show. Well, I got some constructive criticism, and we can be on the outs, Tyler, and I don't give a damn because I'm gonna make a promo out of this anyway and share it to your page. I need the scenes on Have and Have Nots to be like 5% shorter, each one. I want you to watch an episode of The Young and the Restless, because this is supposed to be a soap opera. No one's dialogue on The Young and the Restless is like this. You don't have to talk about the random plant in the corner for 25 minutes on one damn scene.
They talk about random plants.
It was a blood stain on the floor for 5 episodes. I can't take it. We need to kick this up. I'm sorry. I love the Have and the Have Nots, and I continue to watch it in its 5th season. But I get so mad when I can go get myself a glass of water and come back, and he had just started the next sentence in his first paragraph. I can't stand it.
They just want to get the point across.
It's not but you don't get the point for 4 episodes. It's too much. So, now according to ET Online reports, Tyler Perry has a pre-cut and dried response to, a pretty cut and dried.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
And that's
I kept giving us some
it's my phone, man. We are back. I know. We back. Thank y'all so much for sticking in with us and watching with all our wonderful technical difficulties. But you know what? We made it work. Before we went to commercial break, we were talking about questions that the children had asked, and the last question on the floor was, so what? I'm angry. Why I use that as an excuse to run. But we're going to end on the last question is if you could do it all over again, which should be an easy answer. If you could do it all over again, would you do it differently? I guess I'll pose that.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you because I was watching him snap pictures.
Well, not you.
This is going on Instagram. We're gonna see it on Instagram later.
For the fathers, if you had an opportunity to do it all over again, would you, or what would you have done differently? And we got to answer this kind of quick because this is our last segment.
I wouldn't have went to prison, but at the same time, that's where I had the opportunity to grow.
Right.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, although I would love a relationship with my children, I don't think I would change a thing because those life lessons taught me to be the man that I am right now.
We didn't get a chance to get into that, but that was a part of it too. If y'all see at the top of the page, pain builds character. And a lot of times, you get a lot of pain with you not being in the
pressure
home.
bust
From
pipes.
the child's perspective, you get a lot of pain.
But it also makes diamonds.
I'm sorry?
Pressure bust pipes, but it also makes diamonds, creates diamonds.
Yeah. Well, I just got the buster pipes. I didn't get the diamond part yet. So, I'm gonna take your word for it.
I'm not gonna go there with him.
No, y'all gotta get high like y'all get me. That's okay. We ain't got time. We gonna get next time.
Yeah.
What would you have done differently?
You know what? To piggyback off of what he said, man, I wouldn't change nothing because I wouldn't change anything because I believe the real meaning of life is to go through everything you're going through because it builds your character. The pain brings wisdom. You know what I'm saying? That's what's needed for the spiritual growth. You know what I'm saying? I believe we're here to grow as spirits, and all our lessons we learn, you know, whether it hurt or not, you know, it's all necessary. So,
Bling, could you give us a quick?
Yeah, I wouldn't change nothing.
Wouldn't change a thing.
Wouldn't change nothing.
Our next show is the child's perspective. So a lot of what I'm saying is based on the next show, how a child perceives it. If I'm saying as a child, I'm going to end this show with the way I'm going to start it next week. What I would do differently is ask, you know, be clear about what I want. Like you're saying, your daughter is projecting or she's, you know, lashing out and stuff. I think as a child you don't see it that way. We just don't say, I just wanted to spend some time with you. Sometimes you just call and ask a pointless question just so that you can hear your father's voice, and they like, what? You know, what you want? Or, you know, but there is nothing that I want. I kind of just want to talk to you. But a child just can't say, I ain't want nothing. I want to talk to you. You know, so I think I would do that differently if I had the opportunity to do it over again. Just say what I want. And at least then I don't have to assume if he's doing it this way or that way. If I tell you that I want to spend some time with you and you don't come, then you told me that you don't want to spend any time with me. You know, instead of giving you the excuse to say, well, she ain't want nothing anyway. You know, or well, she just wanted to find out how you get the TV on channel 54. You know, something like that. Yeah. So I want to let y'all know. I know with everything that it was kind of confusing and all of that, but y'all, you know, held it down with us. I truly appreciate it. Next week we'll have the second part to this show, Taking Fathers. Hopefully the situation will be fixed. I believe that it will be. If not, then you're gonna see it same way, same place, same time. Thank you to my guest, Mr. Paul Jackson.
Not a problem. It was an honor.
My guest, Mr. Kevin Little.
No doubt.
And of course my co-host and guest co-host, Mr. Bling, Leslie Swirl, and Lasha G. Thank y'all, Sunset Soul. We will see y'all next week.
Peace.
Hey everybody, check out what you missed on the one and only Be Inspired radio show. Now here's one little speech I'm going to give you before I get into the next article.